Hey guys, welcome to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil, just doing a recap of the sports stories that came out over the weekend. We had Championship Saturday, and so, of course, everyone made their predictions of who they thought was going to make it into the college football playoff. Honestly, I don't have too much of a problem with Alabama, obviously. Clemson, fine, even though they've played like a cupcake schedule, but that's their conference. Notre Dame, okay. I don't think the college football playoff will ever penalize them for being their own diva. They don't have to be part of a conference, so they don't have to play part of a conference championship game. They can just, play their own schedule. It's Notre Dame. They had that rule kind of back with the BCS, too, where Notre Dame got their own rules so they could be in. And, of course, Oklahoma. I know people were wondering if Georgia was going to get in. The College Football Committee has had it that no two-loss team has made it into the playoff yet. They kept that up. They also wondered if Ohio State was going to make it in. No. They stuck with that record, too, where they did not reward anyone who got blown out. Last year it was versus Iowa. This year it was Purdue. Blowout losses hurt, and I guess you could say Georgia lost by 20 points to LSU, I think it was, on the road, too. So they have not put in any team that's been blown out. So if you lose, you gotta lose closely as well. Again, I think that it's not too surprising to me because Ohio State was the best team in the Big Ten, but the Big Ten has gotten shut out 4 years in a row now, if you think about it. Michigan State got shut out in their bowl game, I think, versus Alabama. Ohio State got shut out versus Clemson the following year. In the last 2 years, following that terrible showing by the Big Ten, the last 2 years now, the College Football Committee has not put a Big Ten team in. So you can really say the Big Ten has been shut out 4 years in a row. So what's that mean? I really think you got to do two things here. You got to look at what the SEC does. If you look at the SEC, they only play 8 conference games. The Big Ten plays 9. Drop one of those games, add another cupcake to the schedule. I know it's a big story at the end. SEC, like Alabama was playing Citadel. Georgia was playing like UMass. Like, play another cupcake. That means all your teams basically get another win. They should get another win. And so that doesn't hurt your schedule, or your strength of schedule. If you think about it, if half your teams get another loss, that hurts half your teams, right? Whereas if everyone gets another cupcake game, hey, that helps everyone, right? It's wins and losses. If you have 8 conference chances to lose versus 9, 8's a better system. And the SEC is not punished for only playing 8 conference games. So be it. Another thing the Big Ten, I think, has to do is get rid of divisions. In this year, it could not do anything but hurt Ohio State playing Northwestern. If they lost, they're out. And it really helped them nothing either because Northwestern was deemed terrible by the conference, the committee. Because did you notice, it was a story, that they were 19th, then they won their last game, and they dropped 2 spots. After they won their last game, they dropped 2 spots. That's how much the committee was thinking, we got to hurt the Big Ten as much as possible. So Northwestern won their last game and went from 19 to 21. They lost this game, and they only dropped 1 spot to 22. So I guess losing, in this case in Northwestern, helped more than winning did. So let that sink in for you, how stupid of a system this is. Speaking of how dumb the system is, as far as I can remember, last year, this year, I think every year, the BCS, the computer system, would have given us the same 4 teams. Why are we wasting time with this committee? 13-people committee who get together and act like they're all important. Why are we wasting time paying for them, letting people think they're all this important, putting them up in a hotel in Dallas, whatever? Why? Just use the computer. I guess there's one side to it. It lets people complain a lot more because now you can look and say humans made that choice. Where, of course, where computers were programmed by humans, but it's a lot easier to say those humans are the ones who are affecting it instead of the programmer who's affecting it. So you can yell at the committee and say, oh, they don't hate the SEC like they should, or they hate the Big Ten, or they hate the Pac-12, right? So it's a lot easier to get upset at humans than a computer. But same thing, I think it would be a lot simpler just go to the computer. Of course, my hope is that all this frustration with Central Florida not getting in, Ohio State feels like they got gypped, Georgia feels like they got gypped. You know what? Make it an 8-team playoff. Make it a 16-team playoff, or maybe make it like a 12-team and just follow like the NFL. And just like the first or the top 4 teams get into the playoff and get a bye. Something like that. So I left off my thought about the second point of the Big Ten. Forget the divisions. Northwestern didn't help Ohio State at all. I think what you really have to do is have the top 2 teams play each other again, and that way it can help one of your teams. True, one of them's going to lose, but it's certainly going to help. Whoever would have won versus Ohio State, in this case it would have been Michigan again, and probably Ohio State would have won again. It would have helped. But beating Northwestern didn't help Ohio State anything. You look at the Big 12. Oklahoma beat Texas. They avenged their one loss. It helped them jump into the playoff. You look at, of course, the SEC. Georgia lost to Alabama. They dropped out. So a lot of times these conference championship games, I think, hurt you more than they really do help. It'd be great if we could just forgo them completely and just start the first round of the playoffs. I just don't think that the big board members understand that you would make so much money with having a playoff. They're like, oh, we got to hold on to the bowl games. You can have your meaningless, worthless bowl games. You have them anyways, like the Red Box Bowl or the famous Idaho Bowl or whatever, these Shreveport, Louisiana Bowls. They're meaningless. They mean absolutely nothing. There are only 3 games that matter. The semifinals of the playoff and the final. That's it. 3 games out of 41 games. That's the only ones that matter, really. You can still have your meaningless, boring bowl games and still have games that matter in the front. Just hopefully we'll get there at some point. Moving on, topics. Michigan's going to the Peach Bowl. They're going to play Florida again. 3 out of 4 years, Michigan's going to play Florida. I'm not really that upset. I mean, whatever. It's a game. It's a game I get to watch, hopefully. And hopefully Michigan will play good, get the bitter taste of Ohio State out of their mouth, I hope. So it would have been nice to play LSU or Texas or someone else different, but it's not happening. So it is what it is. A story coming out, of course, is going to be in other storylines too. Seniors or juniors that are going to go pro are skipping their bowl games, and I have absolutely no problem with this at all. No problem. Think about it. Jake Butt, Michigan, 2 years ago in the Orange Bowl, he blew out his leg. He went from a first-round draft pick to, I think, a 5th or a 6th-round draft pick. Cost him millions of dollars to play in this meaningless game. It matters nothing if you're not in the playoff. If you are a junior, if you're a senior that's going to go pro, especially if you're like pretty much sure you're going to be a first-round pick, don't play in this game. I'm sorry. I know it goes against the football credo of we're a team, but you know what? You got to look at out for yourself too, man. Don't play in these games. Gary's not playing. I'm hopeful. If Bush goes pro, he shouldn't play. You know what? It does 2 things. 1, you don't get injured. 2, the people who are coming back next year get more reps and more practice. That's not a bad thing either. So, you know what? In this situation, look out for number 1, Gary. Look out for number 1, Bush. Don't play. Michigan will be just fine. I mean, it would be great if you were playing, but you know what? Don't get injured. You had a great career at Michigan. Go pro. Don't get injured. Now, other little bits, change to the NFL here. NFL fired, Mike McCarthy got fired out of Green Bay yesterday. And, of course, just going to throw it out there, the Jim Harbaugh rumors start this year, this time of year, I should say. I just wonder, though, why don't you hear anything about Urban Meyer? He's a great college coach. Why doesn't he get mentioned? Why doesn't Nick Saban get mentioned? I heard Lincoln Riley maybe for the Green Bay job. Why not Clemson's head coach, Dabo Swinney? Why not him? Why is it this, Harbaugh is like regurgitated over and over and over as like this great coach that he's going to go back to the pros? I honestly don't think he's going to go back. But why don't you hear any of these other names? Maybe it's just because I'm in Big Ten country, but you would think you would hear Urban Meyer mentioned. He's an outstanding college coach. Why doesn't he get mentioned at all? Even for like the Cleveland Browns job. What a perfect place. Go from Columbus to Cleveland. Why not do that? But it's always just Harbaugh. Oh, some talking about coaches leaving. McElwain left Michigan for Central. Like, okay. I really appreciate how McElwain really seemed to help the wide receivers. Maybe having a coach really helped the wide receivers because Michigan did not have a coach before. So having a wide receiver coach, I should say. So maybe, hopefully, Roy Roundtree will keep it going, and McDaniels hopefully can fill in the gap there. And Pep Hamilton is mentioned to be, you know, a high candidate for Rutgers. Sorry, not Rutgers, Maryland. See how they go. I know a lot of Michigan fans wouldn't mind if Hamilton left. I'm kind of torn about if the fan base hates Hamilton or wants him and have Harbaugh take his hands off the offense. I'm not sure which way what the fan base is really thinking there. Just looking ahead real quick. I know it's taking a little bit of time. Pistons, I'll do more on them after Christmas. I don't care about the NBA till Christmas. But they're doing all right. They beat Golden State, so cool. Drummond and Griffin are looking pretty good. Red Wings, turning it around a little bit. Like I said, if you play the young players, they're going to do okay this year. I'll try to get a couple of my buddies on to do a podcast here with me about the hockey, letting them know, give their opinions. And then the Lions, another loss, so be it. Bench Stafford, not that he's doing anything terrible, but bench him so that you can lose every game, get a better draft pick. The only thing I can say is Matt Patricia has actually turned our defense pretty good, gotta say. And I don't understand that last onside kick. It made no sense. The Lions had 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. They onside kicked, and the defense had been doing a great job. Let's onside kick, and that was it. I just don't get it. It kind of just was so deflating not to get the onside kick. All right. Sorry, it was a little long. Big weekend of sports. I know there's other stuff I'm sure I could have talked about, but didn't. So, appreciate you watching. What were your 4 teams for the college football playoff? If I could have one team probably that shouldn't be there, again, it would be Notre Dame just because they don't play in a conference. That's me. But they did go undefeated, so credit to them. They made it in. What teams would you have in your 4? Which team would you have as number 5? Right? Who was the one that got shafted the most? Any other thoughts? Let me know. Are you kind of a little annoyed by having to play Florida again as a Michigan fan? Just wonder about your thoughts. Hey, appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all the subscribers I got. As always, let me know if you have any thoughts. Thanks, and go Blue!